What's up? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Well, did you enjoy your Juneteenth day, your off day? Oh man, what a country. What a country. What's going on, everybody? Well, the markets were open today, if you didn't know. They were open electronically. We have to accommodate London, with the exchange. So that's always been something that's changes a lot of the volatility and things that go on. This has been going on for a number of years as they open on Globex for until 1 o'clock Eastern time. The market's open up pretty big this morning too, which is not a total surprise, I wouldn't think. I mean, again, it's the markets are they go anywhere, and of course it's very thin trade, and basically open for the ability to hedge or do whatever that they're doing, some of the trading. But we'll see. I mean, I think we look like we're in a lot of trouble. I don't back down from my original statements, which are, I could see a 40 to 60% haircut here, if not more. I think that's a real possibility in these markets. There's not a lot of good excitement happening right now. There's not a lot of real things that are really encouraging. Obviously, the economy is in brutal condition, and I don't know if anybody sees anything getting any better. I don't. I see it getting a hell of a lot worse. I see a hell of a lot more problems, showing up. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that markets have to go down. I think this is always an interesting time when we see a change in the economy, but not necessarily the markets is quickly or sometimes quicker. But there is not. I don't see a lot of hope for a big change in the inflation problem. Okay, I got gas today, Costco, $121 to fill up my tank. That's a pretty pricey fill up. If I'm only making 50 grand a year, that's a big whack out of my paycheck to fill that tank up. And I think that when you look at the overall issues and you look at what's going on globally, okay, and I think this is another issue and another problem, okay, is globally, we're giving up too much control, we're giving up too much of our power, and we're actually becoming almost a third world country right now. Now you can disagree, you can argue with that, but I don't really know how you can argue with the facts that are simply right in front of you. Okay, I think that when you look at the big picture, I mean, where do we exude or show strength as a country? Okay, where do we show the power as a country? Okay. I think we've given up the typical take charge of the world, and the world will follow us. I think you've seen a lot of dramatic changes, and none for the better. Okay, unless you want to see socialism or Marxism or communism, whichever, pick your poison. Okay, what would you prefer it to be? Okay, I mean, any one of the isms except for the main one, which is capitalism. Okay, now, if you're here, you're probably not a socialist. Okay, you're probably not interested in socialism if you're here. Okay, I mean, because you're looking for ways to make more money. You're looking for ways to be better at what you do. Okay. And, you know, it's kind of sad. You know, it's the crumbling of a great nation. And I'm sorry to see that. What's up there, brother? I'm sorry to see that we continue to, you know, fall. And, you know, obviously it can change. You know, we listen, we've been through tough times before. Okay. You know, I can't say I can remember them being this tough, but, you know, hopefully we will overcome and we will get through all this. But, you know, again, when it comes to the stock market, what you have to remember, okay, is that markets and the economy are not always related. Okay, at least not at any given one period of time. So we can see many different things happening in the market, even though they don't necessarily coordinate with what's going on around the globe or in our own backyard. Now, you know, again, like I said, today we're up pretty big, but, you know, I don't count a day when you've got volume of, probably 10% or 15% of the normal volume. To me, that doesn't have a lot of, that doesn't mean a lot at this particular time. Plus the fact that, remember that one of my theses or theories behind this market is that they're going to allow or try to force or push the retail trade to buy so that they can sell. And they certainly don't want, the commercials don't want to sell too fast. Okay, they're not interested in trying to push the markets down too fast because they realize the damage that it will do, but not they don't care about the damage it'll do to the markets. They care about the damage it'll do their potential of making profit. Okay, remember, we all have our own agenda to want to make money. Okay, and when the commercials are getting involved, they want to make as much as they can. Okay, they want to ring it up big when they do make it, and so they want to see that retail buyer step in. They want to see that continuation of trying to buy the dip. We're getting to that point, where you see that you hear the words "that can't be right." How's the market going down? And you see that on a regular basis. Okay, as we think that we know more. Okay, and of course we're so used to buying the dip as you've done for the last basically 13 years. Okay, we haven't seen a major meltdown. We saw a couple of quick short bursts during the Black Christmas of December of 18 and of course the COVID crash, but those were so short-lived. You didn't have a chance to panic, really. You didn't have a chance to do anything. But I think you're setting up for a major league disaster. We've got too many people in this country that are running this country that hate this country. Okay, I mean, I don't know what anybody's opinion about the squad is, but it is my opinion that that squad hates America. Okay, they hate what we represent. They hate what we stand for. And to me, they're all shit and crap. Okay, this is not what the United States was built on imbeciles like that. Now that's my opinion. You don't have to agree, but you'll get my opinion. Okay. Other country holders of U.S. stocks bonds may need to sell to raise their cash flow. That's always a possibility. Remember, one of the things you have to remember about markets, okay, in general, okay, this is a great rule of thumb for you in general, okay, is that markets don't have to do anything at any particular time. And more often than not, many things are priced in well before the news. Okay, now you wonder, you say, well, the Fed hiked rates last Wednesday, 0.75 of a point. We had a huge rally off of that. And of course, we subsequently fell below, right? We got killed on Thursday, okay, after that. And why was the rally? Well, the rally came because the news was already priced into the market. Okay. The raise, in fact, they might have priced in a full point potentially. So the market was already pricing that information into the market. Okay. So the move that occurred was already prior to that. And if you go back, this is just the Russell, but it doesn't matter. They were selling into this move. So what would be your natural reaction, or what should be your natural reaction to a market that gets clobbered 5 days in a row? Okay. What should be your natural reaction? Okay. If you understand markets, what should you have been looking to potentially do? Okay. Anybody want to chime in there? You should look for some potential mean reversion, is right. That doesn't change the trend that is down. However, you never want to be forced or thinking about selling after we've gone down 6 days in a row. Okay. Nor would you want to be a buyer after they've gone up 5 days in a row. It doesn't mean that it's never going to work, but it means you're probably a pretty big underdog when that's going to happen. And if you didn't have a position going into the Federal Reserve, okay, then you should have. And as I said, I don't know, I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday, I said that if I were going to do anything, I would look to buy some cheap calls. Okay, if I were going to do something, not cheap, but inexpensive calls as a shot. Okay, what's up, Joe? I would look to take a shot. I didn't, again, I don't believe that we're going anywhere. I believe we're going everywhere but down. And I believe that we're going to see not only selling, but pretty dramatic selling as we get further. But you have to remember that there's always a point in time, and especially in bear markets, you will get the most vicious rallies that you're ever going to see. They are powerful, they are vicious, and they fail pretty quickly. Okay. But they don't just fail ad hoc at random, they fail at levels. They're going to search a level, and that's where they're going to fail from. But right now, you've got JP Morgan, I think, came out the other day and said, well, it's not going to be as bad as we thought. All right, well, are they being square? Are they telling us the truth? Or are they doing typically what the big banks always do, which is give us a little bit of misinformation to create us to bring back some buying so they can continue to sell? Okay. Remember, the big banks, the big investors, like Goldman Sachs, like JP Morgan, like Citibank, like all those guys, they do not necessarily have your best interest at the beginning. They may long-term, of course, they have your best interest because you're an investor, but they also have traders, and they don't want their traders to lose money. They want as they say, they want their cake and eat it too. Okay. So they create some things, and you will hear some crazy statements out of them on direction of a market. Okay. Because the masses, the sheep, will follow. Okay. And hopefully they're following not to slaughter, but that usually is to slaughter, because they assume that they can benefit their own traders first. And then, of course, the investors will be in, and they won't panic out so fast. That is very common. And I can vouch for that because I was involved in it, not on the spoofing side, which is what it's known as, but on the other side of spoofing. But we watched it happen day after day after day on the trading floor. And I've told you the story before, but for those who've never heard it, okay, and even if you have heard it, it's worth repeating. All right. In the OEX pit, which is where I did most of my trading in my day, was the biggest pit in the world. There was over 2,000 traders in there. Now, if you've watched the movie Trading Places and you've seen, or any of the trading scenes, you've seen yelling and screaming in a pit. Well, how far, if you're trading in a crowd of 2,000 people, how far do you think you can reach, your voice can reach, okay, without hand signals? All right. So are you in a 30-foot area that people can actually hear you and react to you? Okay. So what people like the banks would do is they would send one broker, like they had a buy and a sell broker. They would send one to one side of the pit, and they would create a little bit of a buzz, but their true intention was to get the other side done. But if they created a frenzy on the one side, which is what they were trying to get, they would push, if they wanted to short, they'd get the markets to get pushed up higher because their buy broker was buying some small orders on one side. And there you had the traders anticipating that there was going to be a move, and they'd be jumping and buying and buying and buying. And the next thing you know, as the pit gets into a frenzy, on the other side are the sellers. Okay. And of course, they're going to sell, they're going to sell and sell and sell. And of course, that is exactly what happens. And it happens on a regular basis, just like when you see these big claims on crude oil or whatever product it happens to be. Okay. You can bet your ass that most of the time that is misinformation to push one way or the other so that they can get the double benefit of not only benefiting their traders on the short term, but then their investors will stay and they'll switch them later. Okay. So again, what are we watching? Well, we're watching a market that, again, is the trend is down. Okay, the trend has not changed. So the little bit of a rally has not changed, but we have seen, some fairly dramatic selling. And if you remember, those of you who've been through any of the classes, okay, what do you say to our guitar boy? What are you sleeping in? You can't be coming in at the 20 minutes after I started. What's going on there? I'm out by the pool right now. This is coming to you live from my swimming pool. No. I was out all day, though. But again, at the end of the day, okay, you had a market that went straight down. Okay. And now what are you seeing? You're seeing the market kind of consolidate, right? At a lower level, which tells us what? Well, it tells us it's either going to reverse or go lower. And based on the current trend, I'm assuming we're going to break to the downside again after we get through in this little bit of consolidation. Okay. And, we can I send the link for, it's amazing. Now, it's amazing how they just lost the link just now. I always find that you guys have no idea how much it pisses me off, right? Okay. I mean, everybody knows I start well before the allotted time, and it's past the time it's called for. And now you're telling me you lost the link? Really? God, help me, Rhonda. Okay. But, so as we look around, so we had some oil selling last week. Okay. No big deal. Again, it's not going down. Oil is going to all-time new highs. You can bet on it. Okay. Unless there's some changes. Okay. All cash here except for a handful of dividend stocks. I scaled out 50% February 1st. Again, I don't agree with that either, my friend. Just so you know, okay, I do not agree with ever being out of the market. I believe in being hedged and being in. But even if you don't want to hedge, you should not be Xing, because there is the true statement that it is time in the market, not timing it. And if you try to time it, you'll never catch it. Okay. And you will never get the full benefit of what markets can do. So again, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I would never be out. I've never been out. Okay. Even before I didn't hedge, before I taught everybody to hedge and did it myself. But anyway, so let's get back to, so we see and are watching, okay, and we expect movement, and a rally wouldn't surprise me. I'll get a little bit higher than here, but then I would expect a collapse. But going back to the original, so asset classes, when they move, they don't always move at the time you think they're going to move. Often we have seen, when you get some heavy selling in the equity markets, okay, what does that do? Okay, it creates margin calls. So when people get a margin call, what is usually their first reaction? Okay, anybody want to take a stab at that? What is usually the first reaction? Can you post the URL to this Zoom call behind your paywall so that anyone can log in and find your website? I find it. I could, if I wanted to. Okay, but if I send it to you, why should I? Sell the crappiest stocks I own, panic close positions, sell. Well, typically what they'll do, okay, is they will sell what's stronger or what they own to cover up margin call for the crap that they own. You know, the tendency of most investors is to sell what's good because they think it's a profit and hold what's bad, hoping that it comes back, which is totally backwards. Okay. You know, strong stocks or strong commodities should remain strong and the weak should get weaker. The answer might not be bigger balls. Thanks. Again, it's not a question of bigger balls. It's a question of being invested properly, and not properly that you're going to make money, but properly that you don't panic. Okay. But really the fact of the matter is that if your investment should not be money that you're going to need tomorrow to fill up your gas tank. Okay. So the investment should sit. Okay. It's like I trade gold, long or short, but my physical gold, I never sell. I'm never selling it. Okay. My kids will sell. When I drop dead, my kids will sell. Okay. Baba Cruda's holding so far. Well, again, I look, I don't look at one day. I can't look at it for a one moment event. You have to remember, as I'm saying to you, this is important to understand. Okay. That the human nature, people will hold garbage because they don't want to take the loss. Okay. Even though it's, you know, because if you take it, then you have to realize it. Okay. If it's on paper, it's on paper. I haven't lost yet. And they will get rid of what is strong. That is what creates a lot of these markets that spin and go opposite of what you think. But typically, when you get some big selling going on early, everything gets sold off because you've got money. People have to raise money for margin calls, and so typically they're going to sell everything. Okay, and they're going to sell away from their winners first, which is again totally backwards. Okay, give them my phone number. It's selling away from strength is your biggest weakness. Okay, you should not be dumping what is working well for you. You should be dumping what is garbage. Okay, again, you think that you're doing yourself a favor, you're punishing yourself by not. Okay, you are hurting yourself by dumping what is strong, but you see it every day. You see it anytime there's some panic or selling. Now you've got some major problems that are developing in this country, okay, and across the globe at what's going on. I mean, you know, Russia and China are getting much tighter. They're becoming, you know, now, obviously China has a much bigger view, right? They have a 100-year plan. In my business, do the economy, I'm dumping, right? You dump what you can't sell. You take your loss on that because the stuff that you can sell, you're going to continue to get big money for. And as it gets better, you get even bigger money for it. That's 100% correct. Okay. You know, it's like the closeout business. Right? I'm getting a little off topic, but it's like the closeout business. You know, through my years, I've owned some different businesses as well. And I've done some big buying and selling of odd deals. Okay. And, you know, I would buy closeouts. Okay. Because I could buy them for pennies on the dollar. And if I flipped them for a few more pennies, it didn't matter. Okay. It was like trading. But when it comes to your portfolio, when it comes to your business, you have to get rid of the garbage that doesn't sell, because all this is cost you money to not sell. Okay. So anyways, so as we look at Russia and China, okay, you know, they're getting very chummy. Okay. Now that is not a good situation for the United States. Okay. You know, China wants to take over the world. That has always been their plan. That was their 100-year plan. Okay. China wants to be the reserve currency. That's part of their plan as well. And, you know, because we are so weak right now, and again, you can be a Biden fan or not a Biden fan, but he is very weak and he does not show any strength. Okay. And no country fears him. Okay. No, right now, nobody fears the United States. And I'm not saying that we should be creating fear, but we should be still creating dominance. Okay. And I think that's a problem. All right. Again, we're getting pushed around that for no, like stepchildren, we should never be being pushed around. Okay. We should be in control. But of course, when you want to go after the money, okay, and we're letting China step in and become, well, of course they're. Listen, it's always about money. Don't you guys understand that it's about money? This is what it's always about. And it's not necessarily money for us. It's money for the politicians. And again, you could take either side of the aisle. They're all crooks. Okay. I don't care which, pick your side. Okay. They're both grabbing, every time there's a bill that gets passed, there's some piece of crap in there that they benefit from that we never hear about. Okay. This is the problem in the system that we run. Okay. And when you don't have a strong leader, okay, at the top of the food chain, dictating terms, and again, you could have hated Trump all you want. Okay. I loved him. Okay. I didn't like his mouth all the time, but I loved him. I thought he was a great leader. But you didn't have these things going on when he was in control. Okay. You didn't have the other country. You would have never had, if he was in power, you would have never had Russia, Ukraine. Okay. I would bet on it. And I'd bet a lot of money on it. Okay. That would have never happened. But again, I don't want to get into into the woods here of all these things, but you had a strong leader. And you know what else you didn't have when Trump was in office? They blamed him for everything, but you didn't have all this violence that's going on in this country right now, inside of our own country. Okay. The killing and the shootings, and you can blame it on the guns all you want. All right. But you know as well as I do that the criminals are getting the guns whether they're legal or not, because they don't care about legal. Okay. So you can fight and be against the Second Amendment, which I don't know why you would be. All right. I'm certainly not. And I'm a new gun owner, but I never thought I'd ever have to own a gun. But unfortunately, in this country now, I feel compelled to have to own a gun. Okay. And Trump would have not given the green light. Again, please. I know what side you sit, and I don't want to argue you, but this did not happen under Trump's watch. China was not under control under Trump's watch. Okay. Again, I know you hated him. That's fine. Again, I'm not telling you who you should vote for or who you should like. I don't want to tell you what your politics should be. I'm talking about straight facts. Okay. Not anything else. Okay. Again, these tensions have been around for a long time. And if you remember, prior to Trump, there was a little bit of Russia-Ukraine stuff going on that he put an end to. But again, we're not going to get into that. Okay. Again, I don't want to naturally. Okay. So I don't want to get into the woods here. Okay. Again, this is not a political call, but I'm giving you some things that are reality. Okay. So we don't have leadership right now. Okay. You have a unfortunate president that has Alzheimer's. Okay. So it's really the teleprompter, that who's ever behind the teleprompter that is running this country right now. You've got very bad leadership. And again, that you can pick both sides of the aisle for that. None of them are worth 2 cents as far as I'm concerned. Okay. But again, this has to lead to eventually market weakness as well, because you can see the high costs that we're now paying for everything. And plus the fact that what are we not going to be able to get? Okay. Again, you have to remember, okay, that we are indebted, or not indebted, but we're in bed with China for our prescription drugs for the most part, many of our goods, okay, certainly our retailers, and those are all about money. Okay. Now, why would a country, and that's not this, again, this is not just in this administration. So I'm not blaming, this is not blame on this administration. This administration is dumb enough as it is. I don't have to blame them for anything right now. Okay. But why would we want to be so tied into China? Why would we want to get our prescription drugs from our enemy? Okay. Who more than likely, in my opinion, sent COVID over here, okay, in a form of chemical warfare. In my opinion, their Shanghai shutdown had nothing to do with COVID. It had everything to do with slowing down the supply chain, okay? And of course, our supply chain and our lack of willingness for the Keystone Pipeline, for any of the oil drilling, any of the processing that we've done in the past, okay, they put a stop to it. No different than what President Obama did with the coal industry. Okay, he shut them down in one day, okay, without giving them a chance to get re-educated, to do anything else. Biden did the same thing on oil. And you remember that the day after the election, we said oil was going well over $100 a barrel. That was long before the Russia-Ukraine fiasco. And Russia and Ukraine had nothing to do with this broken down supply chain. They had nothing to do with these ridiculously high oil prices. Okay. So President Biden can blame them all he wants, okay, as he hides in the corner, shoving an ice cream cone down his face. Okay. But he ain't done shit. And he's the worst president in the history of the United States of America. Okay. Anyways, so as we look at the markets, okay, we look at, the dollar. All right. So the dollar, of course, we're still long dollars. And again, the dollar is not a trading product. I remind this every week. There are certain products that are like investing or part of a portfolio. And there are certain products that are for more active trading. The dollar is not an active trade. The dollar is something we use as a representation. It is almost, the dollar should go and will go the opposite of the basket of currencies that it represents. But of course, the dollars and the currencies around the globe, okay, are being destroyed by the central banking systems. Okay. Again, say what you want, believe whatever you want, believe whatever crap you've been brainwashed by. The central banks are stealing your money. Okay. They are taxing you. We went to war over this in 1776. Taxation without representation. They're stealing your money. Okay. They are devaluing your currency in front of your very eyes. Okay. And if you don't think so, God help you, because that's exactly what they're doing. These dollars buy nothing. I don't care if the dollar's at $1.04.5. What does it buy? It buys me nothing. I just paid 115 of them to get or $121 for a tank of gas. Okay. Last year at this time, or 2 years ago at this time, I paid $42 for a tank of gas. You tell me. Okay. So in the meantime, we don't trade this. It came up to resistance, but it's almost forming a pretty bullish pattern, almost like a cup and handle. We'll see. The dollar looks like it wants to go a lot higher. Okay. Now again, is it true? Is it live or is it Memorex? Okay. It's Memorex. Okay. It's not live. It's bullshit. Okay. It is crap extraordinaire, because all currency is worth less. Look around. Look at your own self. Okay. You may be making more money, but you're net losing because you can't cover your expenses the same way. Okay. There's no way you're saving as much money as you could have been saving before. And this has been going on since 1913. Okay. The Fed is a fraudulent organization. Okay. That it was designed to do exactly what it's doing. They are so far off their mandate that it makes me want to puke. In the meantime, the dollar, Connie, 104 to 105, and we're still long. Okay. 104 to 105. And the euro currency, again, a little bounce. Not really. Am I shocked? No, of course we're not shocked. But the euro currency is going back to par, which is $1, and then to 88 cents, and probably out of business. If you understand the global reset that they're trying to get done here, if you understand what the central banking systems are doing, and the IMF, the imbeciles of the IMF, the National Monetary Fund, they're as dumb as the World Health Organization. Okay, these are not people that had your best interest at heart. Okay, these are not groups that are defending you. Okay, remember, you can break it into a very simple curve. Okay, I'll put it in terms that everybody can understand here. Every one of us may have been involved once or twice in the FINRA day trading rule. Okay, anybody ever get caught in FINRA day trading rule? If you don't have 25,000 in your account? Okay, let's remember this. The FINRA day trading rule is not to benefit you. Okay, it is to benefit the broker, because the brokers are the ones that donate the money to the campaigns. The brokers are the ones that give the big money to the government. Okay, they're defending the brokers and they're not defending the customer. Okay, so don't kid yourself that the IMF, okay, Christine Lagarde was a crook and a thief, and now she's the head of the ECB, European Central Bank. Okay, when she was a part of the IMF, she's an idiot. Okay, but they don't have your best interests at heart, nor does the World Health Organization, nor did Dr. Fauci when he was in charge. Look, they aren't looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves and what they can grab. Okay, so these currencies are all drifting lower. Their value, the numbers may say one thing, but their actual value is a lot less. Okay. In the meantime, euro currency, which we're short, I'm going to tell you probably 106.50. Okay, sell it to your hands bleed. I don't have any support. I suppose it'll be about 104.50. There'll be some support. But what did I tell you last week? Okay, I told you, don't be surprised if you get a 1 or a 2 penny move higher in one day. Oh, and what'd you get? You got almost a 2 penny move higher on Wednesday. Okay, why? Because it was a short squeeze. There was a number came out. There was you name it, any kind of information you want. It had a big rally. It wasn't a surprise. You learn to expect those rallies. Okay. In the meantime, 104.50 to 106.50. Okay. Bitcoin, yeah, this is like going to zero. You know, this is like a constant. This is like a constant battle, a constant fight. Okay, where's it going? Look, I'm going to put it very, very simple. I'm a big believer. I have a position, but it isn't that big. Okay. I mean, I might have, I don't know, I don't look, right? One thing I can honestly tell you is some of the investment things that I do, I never look. I am not getting out. So why should I look? Should I aggravate myself? Okay. So I'm not jumping out of Bitcoin. If it goes to zero, so be it. I'll lose my 50 grand or whatever the hell I got, what I started with. I have no idea what it's worth today. Okay. I don't care. I'm going to buy more probably. Okay. I'm probably going to step up and be willing to buy a little bit more at some point. Not yet, at some point. Okay. Because it continues to go lower. Now we're short in our portfolios, which is a good thing. Okay. Now I can make a case, and I'm not going to make the case for you because we are short. So a level standpoint, Connie, 20,000 looks like it's going to be some support either way. We're there, right there, but and again, it can go through there so fast. But I'd say 20,000 to 24,000 is the levels I'd be watching. But when you look at this pattern, okay, and we're watching the way that it's trading, okay, to me, it almost looks like it's trying to make like a rounding type bottom. Okay, and again, that doesn't mean you can buy from there. But when I look at it, it's like not a pattern that I really want to sell into. Now I'm already short, in the trading portfolio. I'm already long in my investing. Okay. But to me, it looks like it wants to kind of churn and turn around and start to, bottom out. We call that a rounding bottom. Okay. Now I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but that's looking at this chart. Okay. It would not surprise me to see, it's make it lower here and work its way back up just like that. Okay. I maybe not that fast, but that's the idea. Okay. So just keep an open mind. Okay? Certainly if you're looking into short cryptocurrencies and you haven't already done so, you probably want to wait for a rally anyways. Okay. You don't necessarily, remember, just because you finally got the itch to do something doesn't mean you should do it immediately. It means you need to look at the price action before and then make your decision. When in this first example, if you really want to be short crypto, okay, I would try to wait for 24,000 before I'd get short. I think you'll see 24,000, even if it's going lower. Okay. In the meantime, Connie, 20,000, 24,000. The bond market, as we've been saying all along, it got up to 136 and it failed tremendously. It's going lower. Okay. Now, again, it can be painful. You know, if you just got short the other day, pretty painful. But we've been short since way up in here. And I would expect that they're going much lower. Why? Because they obviously are inverse of interest rates. Okay. The bond market, the bond futures go the opposite of interest rates. Now, we've seen some already over 6.5% mortgages already. Okay. Mortgages are based off of the 10-year. Okay. You know, too many of you get confused by what by what the Federal Reserve does. The Federal Reserve interest rate policy has no effect on you. Okay. Remember, the Federal Reserve, the Fed funds rate, which is what they're pricing, is the overnight lending rate to the individual banks. Okay. The banks like higher rates because they get to charge more for a loan. They get to make more on the spread between what they have to borrow from and what they can lend it out at. Okay. So don't get confused with the Fed funds rate. Okay. Watch the 10-year notes. That'll give you the best idea as to what interest rates are doing. Okay. And they're going up, which means that these futures are going down along with along with these. Okay. With the 10 years. They look the same. Okay. They're going down because interest rates are going higher. That is not stopping anytime soon. Okay. I would not be surprised that by year's end, we don't see 10% mortgages. Okay. And of course, what's that going to do to the housing market? Okay. Because we became a society that doesn't worry about what the house costs. It's what is my monthly payment? Okay. You know, remember, I could sell my house. The house I bought in Vegas, I could sell for almost a double. I'm sorry, you're right. I'll give it to you in a minute, honey. You're 100% right. I could sell for almost double. But where am I going to go? Okay, where am I going if I sell it? Okay, I got to go pay double somewhere else. I can't time it. Okay. In the meantime, Connie, 136, 132, but more likely 131 on the bonds. Okay. 2 to 3 years, the 2 and 3 years, the 2 and 3 years are 3%. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say there? The 2-year notes in the 3 years are the yield. Well, again, listen, the curve is inverted. Okay, the yield curve, the yield curve is supposed to be like this. That's supposed to be a yield curve, right? The shortest term, the short rate should be lower than the dated rates. That's not the case. The curve is like this or flat like this. Okay. It is backwards. It is inverted because the demand for money and the upfront cost. Okay. The short-term money is much more expensive than long-term money is right now. Okay. Because of course that's inflation. That's recessionary and inflationary. And if you don't think we're in a recession already, then I think you need to look at your life. If you're happy, God bless. But to me, we're already in a recession. Again, remember, the economists, the idiot economists that we have to listen to, they will not tell us that we are in a recession until 10 years past the fact. They'll go back and ask me, oh, back here we were in a recession. Well, great. What did that do for me now? Okay. And of course, gold, one would think gold would be going much higher, but it's not. Okay. Which should tell you what? It's always about the price action. Believe me, I get the manipulator emails. They're manipulator. You know what? BS. Okay. Maybe it's manipulated, but there's still got to be two sides to the market. Okay. Right now, we happen to be long gold. We got triggered to reverse last week. But overall, I don't know where gold's going. Okay. I mean, eventually it's going higher, which is why, what do I always tell you? Buy physical gold, trade the paper, buy the physical. Okay. I don't have a problem. I believe it's going higher. I believe that every portfolio should have a representation of physical metals, gold, silver, platinum. Okay. I'm a big fan, but when I'm trading, I don't really care. Remember, if you're looking at your IRA every single day, if you're looking at your long-term portfolio every single day, please go see a doctor first and have your freaking head examined. Okay. Because you're not trading that. And if you're trying to buy and sell it every single day, you're going to lose your money. You're going to lose it all. Okay. Don't think that you can trade your IRA on a daily basis. Okay. You'll go broke. You'll piss it all away. Okay. Your investment should be allowed to grow. Gold will grow. Okay. It may not grow today. And if you're investing in gold and using gold as an investment, it should be physical metals, not paper. Okay. I personally do not believe that there is enough gold in the world to handle and cover all the paper that is out there. And that paper is GLD, any of them. Pick any of the ETFs, any of the companies, any of the miners. I don't think there's enough gold out there. If everybody wanted to cash in their rights right now, there'd be no gold. There wouldn't be enough. Okay. Gold will continue to appreciate over time like it always does. But at any given short period of time, what do I care? If I'm trading in a short period of time, I want to take advantage of the short period. Okay. I can own physical gold. Listen, I bought gold anywhere from 400 an ounce as high as 2,000. Okay. And it's not anywhere in between. I don't even care. It has no meaning to me whatsoever, one way or the other. In the meantime, these levels here, we're like 1820 to 1880. Okay. But if you want to get really tight, which is kind of where we are right now, it's like 1840 to 1860. Okay. That's kind of the little bit of tight range we're in right now. But I mean, bigger picture, 1800, 1880 or 1820, 1880. I'm not sure which way the next move is going to be. It looked like it was going to be down, and then it looked like it was going to be up, and now it looks like it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, and if you just look at it just from a very simple, point, look what's happening. You're making lower highs on one side and higher lows on the other side. So you're reaching a point and where it's going to make a move one way or the other. I would not be surprised if by next Monday we're below 1800 or above 1900. How's that? That's into a quiet, short holiday week. Okay. Silver, look, I don't know. Silver, we're still short. Look, it's like this is like if they put you on an electrocardiogram on the heart rate would think you're dead. You look at this. Okay. I mean, there's very little going on. Now, everybody's pushing silver, everybody thinks it's going to the moon. And you know what? I had no doubt that silver's going to go a lot higher at some point, but it ain't going higher now. Manipulation, again, same. It's always the same story in metals. Everyone wants to call it manipulation, manipulated, but you can't manipulate it and hold the price, because if you were truly trying to push it lower, then the buyers would step away, okay, and would go to zero. Okay, so basically you're 21 to 22 right now. Now, again, if I own a lot of silver, I've been saving silver, believe it or not. I started out saving silver just after 1964. You still got a lot of change back. Okay. In those days, right? Nobody thought silver was anything, right? Didn't matter. We switched from straight silver. And so my dad and I started putting stuff away. I got coffee cans full of quarters, nickels. I mean, not quarters, dimes, half dollars, okay, that were real silver. And that's when I started saving it. Now I buy it. Now I buy it in bulk. Just remember one thing. Okay. When you buy precious metals, okay, there's nothing wrong with buying, like a heavy bar, 100-ounce bar of silver, or, gold, whatever. But make sure you also buy some smaller quantities. Okay. Because God forbid that someday you need it as a currency. What, is somebody going to make change for a 100-ounce silver bar for you? You may laugh at me when I say that. Okay. But just remember that someday you may need it as a currency. And if that happens to be the case, you certainly don't, you want to be able to get change back. So just have some smaller quantities. In other words, some junk silver and things like that. I do not invest in graded coins. I invest in some coins, but not because they're coins. That's how they sell them, right? I'm not I can't get, I don't invest in anything, any asset classes, any asset class that is subjective. Okay. I don't invest in it. I own some stuff like that, like some of my artwork. Okay. But I don't own it because it's going to be worth money. I didn't buy it as an investment. I buy it because I like it. Okay. With no intentions of ever selling. And if it's worth a lot of money, it's worth a lot of money. If it's worth nothing, it's worth nothing. I've got some great, if you've ever seen it, I've got some, I'm a big cartoon guy. I got a lot of cells, and I've got some, custom cells. I've got one cell that's, Mickey, Bugs Bunny, that's signed by Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Phil Rizzuto, and a couple others on the same piece. Okay. But whatever it's worth, it's worth. I don't care. I don't really give a shit. It's insured, but I don't care what it's worth. I can't depend on somebody to grade something to tell me what it's worth. Okay. I need to know what I'm trading or investing in. If it's for that purpose, I have to know value that is determined by a free market, not by somebody who gives me a grade on it. Okay. So anyway, silver 21.22 and platinum, which we don't trade anymore because it's not liquid enough. Every time it gets up there, they just smack it. They just whack it down again. Look, I'm a buyer of platinum. I just bought some more. Okay. I think platinum's on sale, but again, I can never in good conscience recommend you buying something that is going into the toilet. Okay. I can't recommend into a downtrend, but I will say this, as I say to you, because I'll always disclose what I'm doing, is I'm not concerned. Okay. As long as you buy these things, okay, like platinum, with money that you have, okay, that you can afford, and you're not going to have to sell to make a car payment, it's fine. Don't worry about what you pay for it. Okay. Assume that it will appreciate like it always does. I mean, when you look at housing now, housing does not appreciate, like, if your parents or before, generations before, talked about your homes as an investment. Homes are no longer an investment. They don't appreciate anymore. They fluctuate with the interest rate market. In the meantime, if you trade platinum, 900 support, it's got to be still 980 and then 1,000 resistance. That's just what it is. Okay. Copper, which we're short, and it looks like it's going to be below $4, is what I thought. Okay. I mean, as I said all along, I thought it was going much lower. I don't see building being much bigger. I know it's a manipulated market. I know that China's got, they own a lot of London Metals Exchange. I know there's a lot of things that go on here. And I could certainly see, a bounce in copper, but we've been short, and I suspect that it's going, dramatically lower. And I think we're going under $3. I mean, excuse me, under $4. Okay. And where it's going to stop, again, I don't have the answer to that. But right now it looks pretty ugly. I think it'll like everything else, all markets find equilibrium at some point. Remember, that's what really makes a market. When you get a panic, okay, or a hard sell, at some point they find equilibrium and start to hold, and you get some reversal. Same as when they go up. There's no different from an up or down. They find equilibrium, and then they go to what true value is based on what the market decides. Unfortunately, in this country and with the central banking system, there's a lot of things that are phony assets right now because of what they do with the currency. Okay, because of the value that they change in the interest rate market. I mean, the bottom line is nominal interest rates are still negative. Okay, the CPI is still 8.5%. The 10 years, what? I think 3 and hold on, I'll tell you exactly right now. The 10 years, 3.25. So we're basically still negative 5% interest rates. Okay, which is not good. That's not healthy. Okay, it's not a healthy environment. It only can lead to disaster, which is what we're watching. We're witnessing history in front of our very eyes. Okay, we are witnessing a potential destruction of the greatest country in the world. Okay, now again, the difference, for in America, we think at a much quicker pace. We don't have a 100-year plan. We got a 2-year plan. And that goes back to what the real problem is with the election system that we run. Okay, the system that we run is brutal. Okay, there should not be a 4-year president. It should be 1 6-year term, because the problem is as soon as they get elected, they're already recampaigning. So what do you really get out of the first year? A year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, maybe, if you're lucky. And when he's a lame duck, what do you get from that? You get nothing. They don't. Everything is so far against the original Constitution, okay, of where we're supposed to be, because the fact of the matter is government is supposed to start city, county, state, and the federal government was not intended to be the largest employer in the world. It was intended to be an overseer, okay, because they create nothing but debt. Anyways, so copper, again, $4 is going to be some pretty good support to start with. Did we get down already? Right, we pulled down, and I would say that you're probably going to break through it. I think you might see a little bit of a bounce. I would look at probably 406, 407 to sell if you want to get looking for a position there. Okay, Biden fell off his bike. Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, anybody can fall off their bike. I do think it's funny, but he is messed up. I mean, again, forget about anything else. The man's got Alzheimer's. Okay, he's old. Okay, which is another problem. But in the meantime, copper 406, $4 should be some support. And of course, as we get to the grain markets, you can look at the grains. Everybody gets so crazy with the grain market. It's like, oh my God, they're going up, they're going down. They don't go anywhere. Look at them. Look at right in front of your face. Yes, they came down from $8 and change. Look at grains are going a lot higher. I would bet. Oh, I already did. But I mean, I would bet anybody that we see in corn, for example, that we see $10, $12 corn. Okay. Why? Because the inflationary spiral that we're in, the shortage of food we're going to have. We're going to have a food shortage. Make no mistake about it. Okay. Right now, what do we have? We had a baby formula shortage, and God forbid, think about that if it was wheat and not baby formula. Okay. You got a tampon shortage now. I mean, think about the shortage you got. Well, we already know that food products cannot be manufactured. They have to be grown. All right. You already had a bad crop from Brazil. They're on the opposite calendars. You had a bad crop from Australia. You've got a battle going on in Russia, Ukraine, which has destroyed 30%, a third of the world's wheat supply, not to mention the corn and the other commodities that they produce there. So there's a food shortage. So there's going to be a food shortage. Okay. He is, but again, look, I don't want to get a name calling about that, but I just, he's dumb. He was always dumb. Again, he was dumb 47 years ago. So again, but let's stay on point here. Okay. So corn, okay, which we happen to be short at the time. Now, I don't particularly like being short right here, but we are. Okay. But for me, 780 should be some support. We could go lower. We can go to 760. We can go to 740. Listen, I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Okay. I look at this and I go, looks like it wants to go a lot higher to me. All right. But in the meantime, again, we're shorted at the moment. Okay. We have been short for a little bit of a while. And I would say right now, you're looking at probably 780, 770 to $8. Okay. And soybeans, which we're long right now. Now, again, this is a rollover. Let me get you a better chart, because that makes you, that looks sick. When you see that, it makes you panic, and you shouldn't be panicking. Okay. That's just a rollover from one expiration to another. Okay. All right. So we're actually in November, which is X22. There you go. I mean, this looks pretty good. Okay. And again, I think that, when we come out of the teens, the beans will be in the 20s, not in the 12s. Okay. And I think you're looking at probably, and these are based on November, although I'm hedging earlier than that, but I would say in November, 1520 support and 1560 a little bit of resistance, but I think we're going much higher. Again, I think we're going into the 20s. That's again my opinion. Okay. Again, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm giving you from my experience in these markets over time. And of course, in the wheat market, wheat looks pretty crappy right now, but wheat's going higher. Now, right now we're short, which is fine. Okay. But wheat's going a lot higher. Again, there's going to be a shortage. There's not going to be, you've already got food riots throughout the globe. Okay. In all of these poor countries and the countries that depend on Russia and Ukraine for supplies, there's food riots already. And we haven't even started yet. Okay. What do you think if I tell you next year you're going to be paying $10 for a loaf of bread or more? Okay. You don't think that can happen? You've got Biden already talking about price controls. Is he out of his freaking mind? I shouldn't ask such rhetorical questions. I mean, you can't use price controls. How do price controls work on anything? Okay. In the meantime, Connie, I don't know if you track the grains or not. $10, 11 week, $10 support, $11 resistance. Okay. I mean, price controls can't work. Does anybody know why price controls cannot work? Just out of curiosity. Anybody? Supply, okay. All right, here, I'm going to give you the clip notes down and dirty version. Okay. Price controls can't work because your government doesn't have any money. Okay. Because your government has busted itself out over, the last 50 years with these ridiculous, actually it's 42 years, I guess, going back to Greenspan. Okay. With this ridiculous printing of money. Okay. It wasn't as bad before. It was always bad, but it wasn't this bad. Okay. Greenspan started this spiral, continued by that jackass Bernanke and followed by the imbecile Yellen and now Jerome Powell, who everybody thought had some common sense, but obviously he's got none. Okay. But they continue to devalue. They continue to use their money to bail out. Too big to fail? Too big to fail my ass. Okay. Why should anybody be too big to fail? If you can't survive, you should be out of business. But anyways, another story. So you have nowhere that you can't support price controls from the government. They got no money. Okay. So if you're going to limit the amount that a producer can sell his goods for, why would he produce? Doesn't make sense. It's not logical. Okay. It does not work that way. Okay. So again, you can think all you want and think what a great idea it is. It's as dumb as you can get. Price controls never work because it's not part of a free market system. But when you're trying to destroy an economy, that's what you do. When you want to destroy something, this is the things you do. You just watch what's going on now. Those are the steps you take to destroy the greatest country in the world. Okay. In the meantime, feeder cattle. Okay. Look, feeders were still long. They look okay. I don't know. I can't see them going much higher. Now, again, we're long, but again, I look at it from a oil standpoint, price of filling up your tank versus the price of, buying a steak and if you can get it. Okay. But right now, 170 to 176, fat cattle or live cattle, they call it. We're long that as well. Looks okay. Again, they're higher, but they are high, right? But they're high because of inflationary times. They're high because of inflation. They're high because of the input costs. Remember, cattle don't magically grow. Okay, they just don't gain weight magically, and there ain't enough grazing out there to have them gain enough weight. Okay, they got to be fed. They got to be taken care of. They got to be cared for. These costs are ridiculous. Every time you see the gas price go up, okay, every time you see the distillates go up, okay, that means you're going to be paying more for everything. Okay, and this again relates back to the problems that we created for ourselves because we have an imbecile. Okay, these are problems that we created for ourselves. The minute we became not an exporter, and now that I think that, as this week is he going to Saudi Arabia to beg for oil? Do you think that Saudi Arabia is going to give us one thing? Okay. Does anybody believe they're going to do that? I did not look at crude yet. No. I get there. Okay. But does anybody think that Saudi Arabia is going to do one thing for the United States of America? They're our enemy. I don't care if they're supposed to be an ally or not. Hogs, again, I don't know how much higher hogs can go. I think they're going much lower. We are short, but I don't think they're going much of anywhere. I think unless there's a crisis, okay, like they had what was called the PED virus, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, whatever it was. Unless there was a shortage from it, like a disease, I think we've kind of probably reached a fair value. Okay. You know, there's probably a trading range right now. I don't know that they're going to move much. They are going to be, as they say, the other white meat, but they're the other protein that people will go to. Okay. Saudi Arabia will do nothing for us. They will piss on us. Okay. If we were on fire, they might. Okay. They don't care. And yet Biden goes there begging. He's going there to beg them to produce more. He's already went to Maduro, one of the biggest criminal killers in the world. Okay. Next to Hugo Chavez. Okay. And he's gone to Iran. Okay. Another pack of murdering fools. Okay. That you think that the guys that blew us up or tried to blow us up are going to give you any oil. And the amazing thing is you have to ask yourself the question, you got it in your own backyard. Okay. At what cost? I ask this, I think, almost every week. At what cost do you want to destroy America? Okay. When you have the natural resources right here. Okay. So again, the logic behind this is pretty dumb, if you ask me. Okay. In the meantime, natural gas, yeah, it's finally turned over a little bit. You know, it had a major beatdown last week, I guess that Monday or whatever it was, and subsequently it's worked its way lower. We're shorted. Okay, you know, we get shorted last week, and you know, again, I think it's probably going to go higher at some point here. You know, we were very high priced for the time of year, and of course there was some news about the LNG, okay, and some other things. But overall, again, this will fit back into the crappy energy policy that we now live under. And I don't know if you believe in climate control or not. And again, this is not a referendum on climate control. I don't believe in it. I think it's a bunch of garbage. Okay. But again, whether you believe in it or not, at what cost do you want to destruct this country? Okay. When you have assholes like Mark Zuckerberg, who is pitching universal income now. UBI. Okay. Now, why does Mark Zuckerberg want UBI? Okay. Why does Google want UBI? Why do the big rich people want UBI? Okay. Because that means that they have now eliminated any competition for their companies forever. Okay. That's why, you know, you heard that AOC, right? She wore that dress, tax the rich. They don't pay enough taxes. Well, the rich pay their fair share of taxes, believe it or not. Okay. And if you want to fix their taxes, what they pay on taxes, fix the tax code. Okay. Don't tell them that they don't pay enough. But in the meantime, this administration is laying the foundation for them to get a lot richer while breaking the rest of the United States of America and destroying the middle class. Okay. So anyways, natural gas, you know, I think 7 probably resistance. You know, we have our policy so bad that I'd have to say that I would say there's a higher probability that we get long again and that natural gas runs to the upside before it hits, let's say, $6. Now I could hit $6 tomorrow. Again, I can't predict. I don't know. I'm looking at the price tag. Right now we're short. And if I was looking at it right now, I'd be looking at maybe $7 to sell some. Okay. Or maybe $7.50. When I give you two levels like this is really depends on your own risk tolerance and your capitalization. Now, I don't think anybody here wants to make a habit of trading too much in natural gas. It's pretty nasty. I mean, it's pretty wild and it's a big move and it's a thin market. But again, so right now, 650 to 750. Crude oil, look, we got clobbered last week. Okay, at a couple of down days. All right, look, that's going to happen. Didn't we go down to the 90s a couple of weeks ago or a month ago and go all the way back up to 120 again? There's going to be some natural give and take. Okay, but again, the energy policy hasn't changed. Okay, the demand for oil has not changed. It is only going to get worse. Now, you've heard them make this the case that it's a recessionary thing because do you know what? People still got to go to work in a recession. You still got to heat your home. You still got to do everything you do with crude oil. Okay. Maybe a little bit of driving gets cut down. But again, I think we've already cut down because of the price. In the meantime, okay, we are still long crude. And I would say 106, I'd be a buyer with both hands. Okay. Like I'd be a seller with both hands. And I think we're probably right now 106 to 112, but I think it's really 106 to 118. Okay. And cocoa, which had a big bounce, not a surprise. Now, interesting. I want you to take a look at this pattern. Okay, forget about the cocoa for a minute. We're still short. Okay, but does this look a little bit familiar? Does this look a little bit like the Bitcoin I was talking about? Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, but does that look a little bit familiar? That's what I'm watching. Okay, because if you look at the Bitcoin again, I just want you to get a little. I see you can see it's early. It's earlier in that phase, but it's very similar in direction and the way that it happened. Okay, and again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but those are some of the things that set up triggers in my mind when I look at it. Okay, those are some of the things that I look at and I say. Okay, so anyways, cocoa, we're still short. I would say 2440, 2450 is probably resistance. Looks like 2360 is support. Cotton, now cotton, obviously this is not a proper chart. This is a rollover. We already knew that it was in pretty nasty backwardation to begin with. Okay, so it wasn't like, here, I'm gonna give you an accurate chart of this as well, so you can see, because again, when they I don't want that, damn it, sorry. When they do this and they don't account for it, you don't necessarily get to see the real picture. Okay, come on, there you go. So this is, it did come down again. It was already lower as we, because soft commodity markets, grains and cotton and things like that, they are often in backwardation, which means that the front contracts are much more expensive because that's where the demand is. That's where the delivery takes place, and they can still back off on the pass until they become the front. Then they get them pushed up again. Meantime, we're short cotton, and again, I think that you're probably going to find a bottom here somewhere in this area here. Sugar, we're short as well, and I would suspect that you're probably 1840 to 1890 or so, and in sugar, OJ, okay, Oscar Juliet, okay, we're still long, and we're going to be rolling to another month. That's our only trade this week so far. But again, these are ridiculously high prices, and certainly I think one more down day will trigger an overall reversal here, in my humble opinion. Okay, but again, it's not an active product that you trade either way. Okay, the oil market, the OJ market is just, again, it's part of a position. Okay, and coffee. Okay, again, we remain long coffee, and it remains in a very bullish pattern, even with the sells off. Remember, coffee is such a big contract that it's so painful. It goes, 3 cents against you is about $1,300, right? It's just, that's the way it is. That's the size of the contract, which is why not everybody can trade it. But I would say that 225, 224, is going to be a little bit of, area of support. Okay, and your resistance is about 235, but I think it'll go through. I think we're going to $3. Okay, as I said all along. And lumber, it finally had a bounce off of 520. Again, this is just a bellwether of the economy, and inflation. I don't see much. I think that building's going to slow. I think everything's going to slow. So I think that's where we see it at. Okay. All right. So let me stop this part of the call. Okay. Everybody stay put. I'm just going to stop this recording because this was the pregame part of it. And now I'm going to get to what do I do here? Did I stop sharing? Is that what I did? Okay. Hold on. Hold on. I'm losing my mind, which is, it ain't far to go. Okay. I got to stop the recording. Yes. Thank you, darling. Okay. And now let's go back and record to the cloud. Yep. And what's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to the real Monday Night Call after the extended pregame, which has now we've turned this into the Monday Night Marathon. I think one of these days I'm going to go for 24 hours straight. I think I could do it. What do you think? Can I handle it? 24 hours straight? I think I can do it. I might do that one day. But we'd have to be awfully busy in the markets. Okay, there'd have to be a reason we don't want to stick around for 24 hours. But in the meantime, look, we got a mess, right? And where's the fire? The Fed pouring gas in the fire. I mean, I've said this before. This is not new. The Fed is so far behind. They should have never caved in 2013 with the taper tantrum, Ben Bernanke, May of 2013. He backed off. He let the markets dictate to him. He let the stock market dictate to him, which is dumb. Okay. Because again, one question we have to always ask ourselves is are the markets rising, or were they rising through the crappy times because they were truly strong, or were they rising because the money supply, okay, there was so much money that was artificial from the money supply? Okay, so which was it? Okay, 12 pack of Trulies, 12 pack of Monsters equals 20. Yeah, I could do that. I'm a believe it or not, I'm a Truly guy now. Well, actually, I'm a seltzer guy. Whatever they have, I drink. Okay, I can drink more of those without getting hammered. Anyways, so we got issues, we got problems. Okay, and of course, U.S. fastest growing economy in the world. Look at now, really, I don't care. I do care that he's a crappy president, but does he have to make up stupid stories on top of everything else and really show how dumb he is? I mean, that's the question I have to ask. Okay, does he have to show off how ignorant he really is when he makes ignorant statements like this? I mean, let's be honest, okay, that we got problems, okay? And, you know, hold on a second, please. I mean, we got big problems, okay? We got to solve them. But the Fed is, hold on a second. Bubba said that the Fed was so far behind long before Kudlow said it, okay? Bubba said it long before Kudlow, and I love Kudlow. Okay, but long before he said it, I've been talking about this. Okay, go back to any of my tapes. Okay, go back to any of my recordings. Okay, I told you that years ago. Okay, this is not new. This is not a surprise or a secret. Okay, the things I've said for years have come true, unfortunately, and I didn't want them to come true, but obviously it's evident. But do we have to show our ignorance as well? We're in trouble. We don't have to show that we're ignorant as well. In the meantime, to all of our public servants, military, all you guys, every week, I thank you. Why? Because if it wasn't for you, I couldn't say what I say or do what I do. Okay. And God bless you, because again, you guys and gals, excuse me, because I got a lot of gals too. That I got some colonels, some gals that are colonels. Look, you guys put your life on the line for me, for everybody. And God bless you for it. I mean, look, you think it's easy? You know, how many of you would take your lives and put them on the line for others? Okay, that's a real special skill. And police, the same, fire, all you guys, thank you so much. We salute you, and we appreciate you every day, whether Memorial Day, Veterans Day. I appreciate you every single day. Okay, and I thank you for your service. In the meantime, swimming's rule governing body slaps total ban on transgender athlete. God, finally, somebody with some balls, okay, and not the swimmers, okay? Can you imagine, okay, that they let this go on for this period of time? I mean, have we totally lost our freaking mind, okay? Finally, somebody stepped up with some balls, and they weren't the swimmers, okay, to ban it. I mean, it's unfair. You know, again, forget about anything else. Forget about how you want to identify. I mean, listen, I'm not a big fan of all this, right? I'm a big fan of whatever you want to do in the privacy of your own home, go for it. But when it comes to the public, I'm not always such a big fan. But, okay, it's unfair. That's all. It's that simple. It's unfair. Okay. So at the minute you have thanks, honey. I know. You've been with me a long time, baby. Since we bought them video at $15. Anyways, Germany rations gas amid Russian cuts and mandates return to coal for electricity production. Now think about that for a minute. We're going to have, you can bet on it right now. Write it down. The date is June 20, what is it, June 20th, right? There will be blackouts this summer. There will be rolling blackouts this summer in the United States of America because of a lack of energy. Okay, write it down. You heard it here. Okay, it's not just going to be in Germany. Okay, it's going to be here too. Okay, again, we are not set up. We are not equipped to deal with what's going on here because A, we're always well behind the curve. And this is not President Biden's fault only. Okay. I mean, Katrina should have never happened the way that it did. Our power grid is in horrible shape, which has been in horrible shape for, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it's been. But they don't want to fix it. They better piss away money on stupid ass stimulus than actually fix that. But anyways, Biden and Democrats keep striking out on inflation. Well, is that not a fact? Okay. Has inflation gotten any better? Okay. But London's always more expensive. I get it, but Europe's always been much more expensive for gas. Okay. I mean, has the party in power done anything to help inflation? In all seriousness, again, forget about your political views. Look in the mirror, whichever side I sit on. You cannot possibly say that they have done anything to help inflation except make it worse. Okay. You cannot possibly say that. All they've done is figure out a way to make things a hell of a lot worse. From their extra stimulus packages were stupid, to not having people work, which is dumber, to not taking care of the gasoline. I mean, I can give you a list of 1,000. Okay. And of course, this is leading to the engineered collapse of America. Now, again, you can say that I am not a screamer. I am not a fear guy. I don't drive fear home to people. Do I? Y'all know me well enough to know I don't preach fear. In fact, I tell you, don't panic at all times. Is that right? Okay. So at the end of the day, this is an engineered collapse. This is being done intentionally. Okay. We are, the current administration, which I'm going to go back to now, is intentionally trying to destroy this country. Okay. With the thought of the Great Reset, globalization. Okay. You can disagree with me all you want, but the facts are clearly behind me. Okay. You do not preach where you got it. I'm positive. Believe it or not, I wake up every morning positive. By the time I see what's going on, I get negative. No, I'm just saying, look, the facts back me up. Okay. You can have your opinions all you want. I'm talking facts. Okay. I don't talk my opinion. Okay. You already know my opinion. I talk facts here. Okay. In the meantime, the words of wisdom from our friend Connie, who always takes care of us. Boy, she sent me so many State of the Unions, I couldn't put them all in, but I'd like to. Anyways, words of wisdom. Success requires replacing I can't with I can't. Now, we were all kids. We broke up. We grew up with what? Charlie the Tank Engine? I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I can. You can't, if you have a negative attitude, you cannot survive to begin with. Negativity gets you nowhere. Okay. Negativity gets you crap. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, okay, you cannot be negative. You have to learn to be positive. And if something goes wrong, you have to learn to put a positive spin on it. Okay. To figure it out. Because really what you have to do from a negative event is what? Learn from it. Okay. Well, I got news for you. I'm gonna address this, which I normally don't do. I hope Trump doesn't run. Okay, I'd rather see him run for Congress and become the speaker. Okay, I don't want. My problem with Trump running again is he's only going to be a one-term president. Okay, I'd rather see DeSantis because I'd rather have a 2 terms to see if somebody can get something done. Okay, so that's my piece of information for you. Okay, not that I wouldn't want him to, but I don't want a 1-termer. Okay. Anyways, and of course, her State of the Union, I use 2. Okay. Definition of stupid: knowing the truth and seeing the truth, but still believing Joe Biden. Now, again, that's pretty accurate. Okay. I mean, if you can't feel the truth and you can't feel your less money that you have right now, okay, and the higher the cost that you're paying right now, well, God help you. We are in the midst of the longest, saddest, most excruciating and unsatisfying I told you so in the history of the world. Now, anybody who had any brains at all knew this was part of the package, that stopping oil exporting would torture the entire world, not just the United States. Europe is getting pounded for the same reason, and they are totally dependent only on Russia. Okay, not healthy. Okay, so anyways, Right. Anyways. And of course, I've been bitching for, I don't know, let's see time, about an hour and a half, but I got one more. Okay. Thinking that you are entitled to success. You ain't entitled to nothing. Okay. You're not entitled to get up tomorrow. Okay. Hard work gives you success. Okay. Understanding what you got to do gives you success. You are owed nothing. Okay. That's the point. And this goes, and I could take this in about 1,000 different directions, if I won't. But you're owed nothing. Nobody promises you, nobody is guaranteed anything. The only way you can get there is by working hard, okay, and giving yourself the best opportunity or putting yourself in the highest probability to be successful, okay? But you can do a lot of damage to yourself by bending and breaking the possible rules of anything that you're doing, okay? So again, nobody's entitled to nothing. Okay, you're entitled to what you earn, okay? And you can earn, and it's amazing how those who work the hardest get the luckiest. Unbelievable, okay? But just look at any famous athlete, for example. The hardest working athletes are the ones who made the most, were the most successful. In the meantime, all right, so here we go, and we are now going to look at the Dow, Yankee Michael, yes, the Dow future. Again, we use that for a substitute of the Dow Jones because it's open 24 hours and it's a better trade. So, and of course, we're short all the indexes, you know, or maybe you don't know, but we are. Okay. But I think we're going, as I said, I think we're going down 40 to 60%. The NASDAQ's about a third or a half of the way there, depending on how far it goes. But the Dow, look, I think that this is going to collapse. And right now I would be looking at, you know, probably 29.8 to 30,800. But I ain't buying at any price. Okay. I'm no buyer at no price. Now, again, that doesn't mean that in our day trading, I wouldn't buy in a 4-minute, or in the dreamers, we wouldn't buy for an hour. But I mean, from a longer term perspective on a trading model, there's no way I want to be a buyer right now. Okay. Now I'm still in the market equities. You know, again, my hedging position is still in place. My hedging has been phenomenal. I mean, what a week last week. But in the meantime, at the end of the day, 29.6, 29.8 to 30,800, and I would love to be a seller. And if you want to be looking to be aggressive, now again, remember, there's a difference. Aggression, okay, can be good, but if you're going to be aggressive, you better have a bigger account. Okay, you better have capital that you're not going to get squeezed and emotionally break down. Okay, remember, this is an emotional game as much as anything else. And too many people lose their mind because they get in too soon. They don't wait patiently enough, and they don't have the capital, so they have to get out too soon. So again, these are things that are important for you, not for me. I already understand them. They're important to understand. So yes, 30,300 is fine, but remember, okay, if it's going to hurt you and you're going to force yourself out, you're going to put yourself in a problem. I have a hedging model, Ed. Okay, it's a whole derivative model that works phenomenal. It's worked for years, but it's kicking ass right now on top of everything else. In the meantime, so 29.6, 29.8 to 30,800. The S&P, we're right up against resistance. Now, again, you could certainly look to sell this right here at resistance. Okay, now that'd be a little aggressive. I think you're looking at 36.60. Okay, as some support, which I would not be a buyer. And I think you're probably looking at a potential run to 3,800. Okay. But right here, 37.20, right where we are, you know, again, you better have money. You better have capital behind this. Okay. You cannot try to trade with a small account, a big product, and try to get rich. It does not work that way. That's why the leverage is so important and the amount of capital. Okay. Anyways, 3,600, 3,650 to 3,800. The NASDAQ, which is in trouble. Again, supports, you know, about 11.1, 11.2. Resistance, full resistance is 11.8. But again, if you want to try to be somewhat aggressive, you can look at 11.5 as a spot to sell, maybe a little bit sooner. You know, again, these are things I can't answer for you, because there are other factors at play. Now, myself personally, I had no problem. I already sold more into this morning, today. Okay. But I don't have a problem with it. And I'm not going to panic out. Okay. I am not playing with borrowed funds that I cannot afford if it continues to go against me. In fact, I'll be willing to sell more, okay, on a rally higher from here. But not everybody's in that same position, neither financially nor mentally, and more mentally than anything else. Okay. Anyways, so we got about 11,000, to about 11.6, 11.5, and the Russell, it looks the best of the bunch. Are all pretty bad. All right. But at 1650 was the support, which I'm not buying it at any price. And I would think that, the obvious resistance is about 1720. But again, if you want to be a little bit aggressive or try to, reach in early, like 1690. Okay. Again, these are levels that are both good, but they're dependent on your own personal preference and how much pain that you're willing to suffer. Me too. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Well, I figured you'd be. I know you pretty well, I think. Okay. So, again, today is nothing. Today, in fact, this is going to say, I believe this will say the 21st. If I look at the chart, yeah, it already says the 21st, because everything that happened today, last night and today, really goes on tomorrow. Today did not exist according to the markets. Okay. And of course, the VIX, well, we found, like we said last week, it looks like we found some support around 30 now, right? So the VIX keeps moving on up. Okay. And what does it mean? Well, again, the assholes, the idiots on TV want to tell you it's the fear index. It's really just the index that they're buying more options they're selling right now. They're buying to open options right now. And what that really means is what? They're not selling as many naked puts. Okay. They're not selling they're not selling as many covered calls right now, and they're doing more buying. That's all. Again, don't put yourself in a position, okay, that's going to hurt you because you think that you're smarter and you listen to these pundits who have absolutely no clue. Okay. But the VIX looks like it's 30 to 35 now. I mean, we don't trade it like that, but again, I'd be surprised. It might sneak down to 28. We'll see. Okay. And then, of course, we look at our list. So Apple, we're still short Apple. Now, Apple found some support at 130. Okay. And it bounced. No, not a shock. We said that last week it could bounce over 130. All right. But certainly nothing has changed. 135. I'm looking at 130 to 135, and I am not a buyer at any price. Okay. Now, if I were going to buy it and hedge it, yeah, I'd buy it. That's a different story. Okay. One thing has nothing to do with the other. There's trading, there's investing, and there's investing with hedging. Okay. So as a pure trader, I am not a buyer at all. I'm not trying to find a bottom. I'm not fishing for a bottom. The market turns around, I'll be ready for a bottom. Okay. In the meantime, for today, 130 to 135, and I would love to sell a bunch at 135 as a trade. Okay. And we are, of course, still short. Alpha Golf, okay, which is, of course, our little ETF for the silver, which we are short. Okay. Now, again, I would never short this, as you know. I'm short in the portfolio because I'm using options, right? But I would never short a $7, $8 stock. And I'd be much more inclined to buy. And maybe, again, this is kind of comatose like silver itself. And maybe it's finding a bottom. Okay. Now, again, if I weren't in the portfolio model, I wouldn't be out selling this. I'd only be a buyer. The only reason I represent it in the portfolios whatsoever is because of what? Because I want to be there when silver does turn around and have the big rally higher. Okay, that's the only reason that I even cover it. Okay, is for that reason, because I like to buy it when it looks like silver is going to run. Okay. In the meantime, for tonight, it looks like $8, $8.20 is resistance. Okay, and $7.50 is support. AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, which we are still short. And I said to you last week, it was key what was going to happen at 84, and it went right through it like a hot knife through butter. And again, 84 now becomes resistance. Support, there is none. Okay. And I'd only be a seller here. I have no interest in buying. And again, we could see this go back down to 50. Now, I'm not calling for it. I'm just letting you know that, and there is no support. There's nothing on the bottom right now. Okay. but certainly it would not surprise me to see it come to 84 first and then break. I'd be looking at 84 and then 86, no support. Okay, seller only. Amazon, Alpha Michael Zulu November, okay, which full disclosure, I bought a couple weeks ago or whatever, the day they split, I bought it, I think at 106 or 107, whatever it was. Excuse me. I bought it and hedged it immediately. I would never buy it at 3,000, but I did buy it at 100. Okay. And whatever it was. And I'm hedged it. Okay. And I've already accumulated more shares, but we're going to start covering this here. And I think that it looks to me that, 104, 102 look to be some support. Okay. And I think you're going to trade in a range, but overall, the trend is still lower, even though we don't put it in our portfolio, which we'll probably add it in eventually. I would be, again, I'd be looking to sell it at 108 as a trade or so. You can see pretty solid support, around 102, 100. And I don't think this is going to see the same action as you saw with Roku and the others that busted through 100. I mean, it might go below her, but I think you'll see a much higher probability of a rally from here. But for today, 102 to 108. Bravo Alpha, which we're still long. And of course, it's kind of, it's been pretty wild, right? The China atmosphere has been fairly wild anyways. Okay. And you're seeing some big moves. Now it has made, from its $80 or 70 some low, it's made some nice action. But again, you could look at this either way, but now we're long it. So I will assume higher, and certainly it is making higher lows. I would say 100 would be a level to look at as a potential buy. And I think you're probably looking at 100, 115 as some resistance. Okay. Now again, since we're long, I wouldn't get too aggressive to the short side at the moment. Bido, Bravo, India, Tango, Oscar, which we have not made a trade in yet, okay, which we're using as a representation for Bitcoin, okay, which I do own. I did step in. I did step on the same thing that Jerome Powell steps on every month. But again, I didn't buy a ton, but I wanted to, for the class, I wanted to have some, and B, I am a believer in crypto and in Bitcoin. So I have no issue, okay, that I did buy it. And again, I'm not worried about it right now. I mean, I'm not selling it, I'll tell you that. And it's really not hedgeable. So it is what it is. But I would look, again, this is more of a gamble play, but it does, unlike Mara and Riot, it ties directly to the cryptocurrency itself. Okay, it ties to the futures market. So again, if you're buying it now, you're trying to pick a bottom, which is fine if you want to own it. Like if you want to own crypto, but you don't want to go into the wallet part, then you can buy it. Okay. Otherwise, just let it go down and find a level when it actually finds a bottom, which it has not really done so as of yet. Okay. So Connie, I guess we'll make it 12 to 14. Okay, 12 to 14. BitQ, which is Bitcoin soup, just kind of hovering around the bottom for the last week or so. This ties up. This has got about 100 different crypto things in it. I mean, at this price, I own it from a lot higher. Again, full disclosure, I would, again, if you want to buy it here, you're gambling. You're saying I understand that I could lose $6. Okay, that's all you're saying. Okay, you're gambling because there's no real legit reason to buy this here unless you believe in cryptocurrencies. And this has other things to be concerned about because it's not the straight crypto like Bido is. It's a combination of some of the miners and some others that they go in it. Okay. In the meantime, $6 to $6 to $8. Okay. Now I've never been a seller at 8, just full disclosure. Okay. Chewy, Charlie Hotel, Whiskey Yankee. Now, we're still short this, but it has started to appear to look a little bit better. Okay. It's actually making with inside this wider consolidation range. It has actually started to make some higher lows. It is actually consolidating at a higher level. Okay. And I would suspect right now you're looking at probably 26, 27 to 32. Now, I think they're a great company, but great companies don't have to go higher either. Okay. And they may be like others, they may be overpriced into the market itself, based on other factors. But, overall, from looking at the straight chart, I mean, we are short, but it does look like it is trying to turn. And it looks like it can make a run here. So keep an eye on it. Again, 26 to 32. Coin just keeps continuing to fall, but it really isn't. See, it's kind of held in this, in between 40 and 60, and we're kind of dead in the middle, which only tells me one thing, that there's a much bigger move coming. Now, if I try to imagine the much bigger move, I can't really imagine much lower. I may go to zero, but I can't imagine much lower, right? I would assume higher. Now, I own this in my hedging account. I am shorted in our models, okay? And I would think that we're probably now, probably 45 to 55 in a pretty tight range, okay, with still the major support and resistance at 40 and 60. Okay. DraftKings, God. Well, again, this is a dog. We've talked about it. I own it. I own it, and we're now back to shorted again. But this is probably going to have to come out of the portfolios of that we trade. And I think that, again, as I told everybody, once it got below 15, I was no longer going to add any more to my account. I own a lot. Okay, it's kind of like American Airlines of the gambling world. But again, I think their only hope is a takeover. In the meantime, you can watch $11 again. I think this is probably gonna have to come off altogether. I don't see a real future except for a takeover, and certainly I don't want to carry a stock just to look for a potential takeover. But for today, we look at 11 support, probably 11 to 1250. Meta, piece of crap. Meta, okay, which is Facebook, and which is a new Facebook, which we're still short. It's about 160, looks like some support. I'm not a buyer. I think we're going lower. Okay. But here it's 160 to 170, maybe 175, but certainly it wouldn't surprise me to see a little bit of a bounce, but whatever bounce it gets, I want to sell at resistance. And again, when I say to sell a bounce, it doesn't mean just sell if it bounces a little bit. It's got to bounce to a purposeful point on a chart. So the next purposeful point in this chart would be like 167. If I were looking for a spot, that would be a spot I might look at. It's got to be, you have to have a chart point that agrees with what your thought process is, not just because you think about it. Okay. So anyways, 160 to 170 kind of. First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra, Lima, Romeo, okay, which we're still short, and it did pop up. It came down and made lows, and look at that. Look at where it made lows at. Look at it. Right on the overall bottoms. Now, again, many will say that's a double bottom, and I'll say BS. Okay. It is a double bottom or a support bottom, but again, double bottoms work best when the market is trending higher, not when it's trending lower. Okay, this is the big spikes that could be a potential change coming, but remember that there's a greater probability that it breaks to the downside and through that support, because again, support works best in a market that is trending higher. Resistance works best in a market that is trending lower. Okay. In the meantime, for today, we got 61 to 68. GDX, which like gold. Now, GDX, interestingly enough, did not reverse to long, although gold did, and it's still hovering around that $30 range. Okay, and again, it looks like 30 is support. It does look like it's trying to hold here. Now we're still shorted, but I would say 31 is resistance. I think it's really tight range, and this is a very tight stock. I mean, this isn't. If I were going to pick one stock to trade, it wouldn't be this one. Okay, this wouldn't be active enough for me, but 30 to 31, Goldman Sachs, Gulf Sierra, okay, which we're short, and of course it's going lower, going down. Okay, now again, I'm not worried about the company at all. I mean, they're the best in the world, and certainly this might have been a little bit of a blow off on Friday. You might see a bit of a pop, but I think you're looking at probably 275 to 290. Okay, and I'd still be a seller. I mean, again, Now, the higher interest rates are bullish for them, but they still manage to go lower. Okay. Because they get a bigger spread, they make more profit. But at the end of the day, it looks like we want to go a lot lower here. But for today, I wouldn't be a buyer, but 275 or so should be some support, and 280, 290 is resistance. IWM, India Whiskey Michael. Again, we're short and it's going lower. Okay. Again, look, there's no reason to believe it's going higher. It's going lower. It wants to go lower. I'm sure we'll see a rally. You might see up to 170, which would be resistance. The support is clearly at 162. I think we go through 162 pretty hard, pretty easily. Maybe not now, but in the next couple of days. Okay. Mara, which my source says $3 is a potential buy, not until, and she has been dead nuts right on this the entire time. Now we do carry this in a portfolio, which will probably have to come out because again, at $6, I'm not really interested, but we're still short, and we have been short since 27. Okay, so you can imagine, but it is winding tightly. Again, to me, if you're going to trade this on the outside and not in the portfolio, it's a buy. You got to find a place to buy it because again, the risk to reward is ridiculous if you're shorting it. Okay, 6 to 7 would be what I'd be watching. Okay, NEO, November India Oscar. Which we're still long, and it is breaking out, and it's breaking out to new recent highs, and it actually looks pretty good from looking as bad as it looked back in here. It looks pretty good right now. So it did make a bottom. It continued to try to charge higher. Again, I think that you're probably looking at resistance. Next resistance is probably 23. I think you're looking at 20 to 23 here. Yeah. Nougat, November Uniform Golf Tango. Okay, which we remain short as well. Now, this may be making a bottom around 40. Okay, I mean, certainly I could see it happening, and I could see a big move coming. I wouldn't be overly enthused to short here. But I would say that 45 is resistance and 40 is support. But I'd probably wait and try to see if it would break the upside. IWM 162 to 170. Sorry, honey. I know I do. I know I skip around sometimes. So I'm sorry. Okay. So 40 to 45. I'm not like in a huge mood to sell it here. Especially with gold on the long side. NVIDIA, November Victor Delta Alpha, which we're still short. Again, it's just hovering around this 158, 155, 150 area. I think that again, this is pretty key level here. If this doesn't hold, I think you're going a lot lower. I think we'd say it's 155 to 170. Okay. Obviously, I'd rather be a seller at 170 than 155. And we are still short. Penn is the other pig from the gambling industry, which we cover, which is still short. And again, it's just I misjudged. I give you honest assessment. I misjudged how much money they can make. Not forgetting about the fact that they can only make X amount of dollars. They don't have unlimited profit potential because they can only work on the handle and the spread. So in the meantime, at the end of the day, I would not buy these anymore. I would just, if I had them, which I do, I'll just hold them and hope they get taken out because they should be bought out at some point as Vegas decides to expand their industry because they're going to have to keep up with competition. I would say, support here is probably 26 to 30. The Qs, Quebec. Again, we're short 270 to 280. Okay, you're right in the middle, and expect the bounce. I mean, you're going to get a bounce tomorrow. Now, provided that everything stays where it is right now, if futures are higher, we're going to get a bounce tomorrow morning. Now, that's provided that we stay where we are. Okay, they could collapse by the time we get here in the morning. Riot, Romeo, India, Oscar, Tango. My sources is going to zero. This has probably got to come off as well. We don't trade this in any portfolio anyways. I think it's garbage right now. And remember, we bought these. We didn't buy them. We started monitoring them at 6 the first time, and they went to 80. Now they're back at under 6. So again, this is probably just garbage. This is like you want to gamble, okay, and you don't care. You take a shot, okay. I wouldn't get involved. I'm not even give you levels, Connie. It's not worth levels. Roku, Romeo, Oscar, Kilo Uniform, which will remain short. And as I told you, if it got through 100, it was going down to 75 or 70. And here it is. Okay. Now you're getting a little bit of a rally, not a surprise. this should be the first potential point of failure, 82, 83. I wouldn't be surprised if it got back to 90. I would be a seller at 90. I think it is going dramatically lower. Again, you know, these stocks got oversaturated and overbought up without making enough money to ever support what they could do. Remember, when the exuberance leaves, then the true models really show up. The true value really shows up. And that takes us to Square, Sierra Quebec, which again, remember what I told you, if it gets through 100, it may go to 50. Well, here we are, we're already there. Okay. This thing can go back to 30. Listen, there's no number. It's a good company. I happen to like the company. Okay. I think they have a great concept. They might have got a little bit too involved in the crypto world, but their overall concept is great. Their payment structure, everything they do. But again, it got overdone as the exuberance took charge and prices did not match true valuation. You know, I do own this. In fact, I bought some the other day, but again, I'm going to hedge it, so I'm not worried about it. I would not buy it naked until it found a bottom. I don't know where the bottom is going to be right now. I would say 55 would be some support potentially, but I'm certainly not buying here. The trend is lower. Okay. And I would not buy it until the trend at least reversed. So we'll make this 55 to 70. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee, again, we're going down. We paid a dividend the other day. Okay. We're going lower now again, should there be a bounce? There'll be a bounce. I mean, again, if we stay where we are here, we'll bounce a couple bucks tomorrow. But I'd certainly look to be a seller at 375. You may want to be more patient and wait for 380. Support 360. And then below that, I think I think it breaks through all support levels. And not at one time. Remember, when I talk, it isn't necessarily at one time. Audio broke up. I said pen 26 to 30, honey. No worries. Okay. I think that, you know, again, this isn't going to happen at one time. This isn't like not tomorrow. They're not going straight down tomorrow. They might not. All right. If you look at this, if you're looking at this short term, you're going to kill yourself. You can't take it. You have to let the markets dictate. Okay. And so the SPY 360 to 370. Tango Quebec. Yeah, maybe this is on the bottom. You know, we'll see. 21, 22. I mean, this could go significantly. This is, you know, the Q's on steroids. It can go significantly lower. I would suspect you'll get a bounce probably at 25. I'd be a seller at 25. Tesla, look at this. It cracked, and now it's kind of found some support. Now, I don't trade this anymore. You know, for years, we don't carry it in a portfolio. You know, 650 looks like it's pretty solid support. This looks like 650 to 760. Okay, but there's probably some resistance around 720. Again, I don't trade it. I love the car. Okay, I love Elon Musk, but I could only be shorted, and I've lost too much trying to be short all the time. Okay. When Whiskey Yankee November, which we're short, and this is broken down. Now, again, I own this. I own a lot of this as well, and I'm a big believer. But again, in my portfolio, I'm short. My trading portfolio. I don't really like being short down here. This is kind of like the grain markets to me. You know, we're getting to a point where I want to own it. Okay. But in the meantime, we're still short. And for our levels, you know, 58, 54 to 58, but it could be obviously much lower. And we haven't seen lows like this for, I don't remember how long here. It's been since the COVID. But it could go there again. Okay. So if we're here, we're going to kind of make it 50 to 60. I get a little wider berth. XBI, okay, it bounced off of support, not a surprise. So now what's going to do here? I would think you'd be looking at 70 for a potential sale. Okay. And 6250 is going to be a huge support if it breaks through. Now, this to me is a potential blow off. Okay. This is almost an automatic short. Okay, as a trade, not as a long-term thing, right? But in the meantime, for here, 62 to 70. Okay, and zoom. All right, well, it held. It actually, look at this, see? It went through 100, but then it came back and it held, and it looks pretty good now. Okay, now again, I'm not a huge fan. I don't really think anything highly about it. We don't carry it anymore. But I would say that probably 104 to 116 are the levels. And to me, it's probably in an uptrend. So that's how I'd look at it. Okay. So in the meantime, look, again, we're still really quiet it is still really slow. So my warnings to you are the same, is don't get too aggressive into this market. There will be time for aggression. Now is not the time. And as always, if you want me to look at anything real quick, I'll be happy to look at it. Otherwise, I'll kiss you all goodbye and tell you have a great week. It's obviously a short week because we had no Monday this week. So, there's only two trading days. But if you want me to look at anything, I feel free to put it in. And if not, then I will just Microsoft, Michael Sierra, Foxtrot Tango, Michael Sierra, Foxtrot Tango. I mean, it looks pretty bad. Okay. I mean, good company. Yeah. But trading wise, and to me, I don't trade Microsoft, but I'd be a seller at 255. Okay. I mean, that's what I'd be looking to do. Now you're hedging it, I'm assuming. So it's a different story. Great call tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it, honey. So listen, I try to give you the most honest assessment without an opinion. I mean, I always throw my opinions in, but I always try to just give you what's happening. Okay. I try to make it, as painless as possible. Glencore, what's the symbol? I don't have it off the top of my head. You got to give me symbols if you want me to look. I'm happy to look, but I got to have symbols. No problem, buddy. Thanks, Jo. You're the best, man. I appreciate you. Okay. You got to give me a symbol. Otherwise, I can't help you. I don't know what that, I don't remember. GLNC, golf, Lima, November, Charlie, Yankee. I mean, there's like crap. Okay. I mean, look, I don't sell $11 stocks. This goes back to this story. Okay. If I'm going to play this, I could only be a buyer. Is there a dividend any good? I don't even know. I don't follow it. Again, I don't. I'm going to look right now. GLNCY. Is that dividend any good? Is it worth? I don't think it's too big though. I don't think. I don't trade any volume. 5%. Ain't bad. I could look at that. I mean, again, that would be an investment tool for me. Tesla, I just did Tesla. Okay. I did that 2 minutes ago. You really AAL? Oh, you must be buddies with the captain. This is horrible. Listen, I own a bunch of this. Okay. It's no problem. No worries. I own a bunch of AAL. Okay. I wish I didn't, but I'm not getting out. I mean, I've hedged it. I had it a long time. I think they're going out of business. Again, I don't think that the airline industry ever returns to what it once was. They're already flying less. Now, again, they're probably making more money right now. I don't see it. Okay. I would not be, I think there's a lot better places to go with your money than into American Airlines. But if you're inclined, $12 would be some support, 14 with resistance. Okay. REV, Rock Romeo Echo Victor. Is that Revlon? Oh yeah, they're in trouble. Look at this. This is a penny stock. And I don't trade no penny stocks. I don't even see the benefit of gambling on a Revlon, to be honest with you. Okay. But it's a penny stock, so I don't really trade those. Great dividend, right? That's what I said. So, all right. Well, look, at the end of the day, PBR, Petrolio, whatever, Bravas. Hey, look, it looks pretty bad, but they have a pretty good dividend. Again, it all depends on how you're going to hold them and what you're going to do with them. Okay. I mean, Petrobrazil, it's kind of a range bound kind of stock that has a pretty decent dividend. Okay. I'll tell you one that I bought. It's pretty big. It has a huge dividend. I think. Let me see if I remember the symbol. This ain't it. I would never buy this. Well, actually, it's kind of like a penny stock, though. Okay. Yeah, Global Gold. I own this, or I bought this because it pays a 25% dividend, I think. Okay. I think. I got to remember now. I'm going to look right now. I mean, I didn't buy a lot, but 10% yield. It was bigger, but again, what's the difference? I don't care. Again, it's just, I liked the juicy dividend it was paying at the time. That's all. Again, I wouldn't buy this for, it's nothing I can do with it. It's just a gamble. Okay. So in the meantime, listen, have a great week. Be careful. That's my words to you as always. It's not crazy enough. It's not busy enough to be aggressive. You need to be very conservative. Okay. Obviously, if you're in any of the models, we trade as the trend trades. But if you're just trading, just be careful with yourself. Don't put yourself in jeopardy because it's very painful when you put yourself out. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you. And by the way, day traders who trade with me tomorrow, I might be late. I'll send out an email to remind you. I might be a few minutes late. So just be aware ahead of time. Adios, everybody. We'll see you later.